Howard, can you hear us?
Howard, yeah, okay, great.
Good.
Yes. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. The Town of Brookhaven Local Development Corporation meeting is Wednesday, May 27th, is 12 noon. Following board members are present: Retta Casa, Pally, Mr. Callahan, Mr. Rhodes, Ms. Scheit, Trotta, Mr. Braun, quorum is present. First order of business of the minutes of a meeting of March 25th and April 15th. May I have a resolution?
Don't move.
For a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Sending an email about Mark this slide. Bless you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is, at our last meeting, we appointed a records management officer for the IDA. We did not do one for the LDC. So you made me the records management officer for the IDA. We need one apparently, so you'd like to appoint someone.
No move. Any
Doesn't
questions?
have to be me, if you want it to be me, it can be.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
What she says now.
Right.
That's all I got.
Anytime, unless there's anything else to be brought up, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. No move. Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. It's 12:05, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
almost done.
It is, okay. Next, we'll have the Town of Brookhaven Industrial Development Agency meeting. It is Wednesday, May 27th. It is 12:07. The following board members are present: Retta Casa, Mr. Callahan, Pally, Mr. Rose, Ms. Scheit, Mr. Trotta, Mr. Braun, and quorum is present. We'll also look to approve the minutes of our meetings of March 25th and April 15th. So move the resolution.
Don't move.
Second. Questions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Lori?
Okay, just want to mention a couple of things. Ocean Bank, as mentioned previously, is merging with Flushing Bank. Actually, Ocean will be the remaining bank, so we've gotten notifications about agreements changing. That's gonna occur June 1st. So Flushing will be now Ocean Bank. Also, I wanted to mention, in the monthly activity since our last meeting, we did have one closing and also one, sales tax, just extension of time. And then, I did want to just mention that, all bills were paid on time, all pilot checks were dispersed. I'm looking for my little speech here. All the payroll taxes and related withholdings have been dispersed finally, in accordance with federal and state guidelines. All regulatory reports have been filed, and all pilot disbursements have been dispersed in a timely manner. And that's it.
Questions for Lori? Need a motion to accept the report? So moved. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
We have a couple of applications in front of you. We've got Bloom Ronkonkoma, which is a subtenant for Ronkpub. So we have not only the application which needs to be accepted, but also the resolution on the agenda.
Assume we'll take separately.
You can do them all at once.
Okay. Is it not Green Island? Well, how it means?
We could do the Bloom, accept the application
Yes.
and the resolution.
That's fine.
Okay, sorry. I put it.
Motion?
What is Bloom?
It is a.
Beauty bar
No, it's
services
a-
for floral arrangement customers.
Yeah.
But there's a Bloom
Bloom, yeah.
in Mauritius.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's, I think it sounds a little bit like maybe,
Rural hairdresser.
well, yeah, but so like wedding
Right.
type
Okay.
stuff.
Oh,
Like a
event kinds of
one-stop
things.
shop. I think you
Oh,
probably
oh.
could buy flowers independent of a wedding and get your hair done independent of a wedding, but kind of that concept.
You're shaking your head, Peter?
Wedding type stuff. Yeah, covers a lot of sins. Yes.
Okay, we understand.
Well, I guess it could be a prom
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Event. Special
Event.
occasion.
Special occasions. There you go.
And makeup probably too.
Yeah, probably. Nails.
Has the sign recently,
Listen to this making up
deal-
with this, they're gonna be doing.
the deal was makeup for a wedding, $265.
That's probably not the most expensive you can spend.
Wow.
cheap.
Yeah.
Wow. Pressure, Emery. Put up before I just. All right, Indian motion.
Yes,
Yeah.
need a motion.
Motion, second,
Second,
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, thank you.
Okay.
Is that the app and the reso or just the app?
App and the resolution. The next one is Island Greens. This is an application and a resolution, and this. I think I remember now I'm wondering, yeah, it's a golf simulator. So you have to go there and practice golf.
Motion,
so moved.
second? Second.
And
Questions?
that's the application and
The
the resolution.
Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah,
It's irresistible.
I'm gonna skip over the next application. And then skip down to the resolutions. We have Amneal Pharmaceuticals of New York, 50 horse block. So we did a public hearing yesterday. There were no comments. This is a final authorizing resolution for that project. The cost benefit analysis, the application, all of the supporting documents are in your application, in your packet. Any questions?
Can you just give me a quick oversight on that one?
Yeah, so this is an existing manufacturing facility on the kind of where station and sills and horse blocks come together. Okay. They are taking 77,000 square feet, I think, of their facility and changing it from warehouse space and turning it into manufacturing space.
and adding a significant number of employees.
70 employees,
question.
Yeah.
So,
70.
oh, wow.
Yeah, they're at like 780 and they're gonna go to 850. Roughly.
Any other questions? I need a motion? So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is also Amneal Pharmaceuticals, 19 Nicholas. So this is a warehouse facility. It's on Long Island Avenue. They rent part of this facility and they asked to extend their pilot on this project. And this supports the expansion at 50 horse block. So they're taking that warehouse space and turning it at 50 horse block, turning it into R&D and manufacturing. And so now they're gonna have more warehouse.
In Lakewood.
No, not in on Long Island Avenue.
Long Island.
Yeah.
Distribution. I don't-
Well, it's all to support the 50 horse block.
Right.
Yeah.
Other questions?
That's
Motion?
Medford? Yeah. Long Island Avenue, Medford.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weird place where.
Yeah.
Their motion? Don't move. Second. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries again.
Okay, I'm gonna continue taking some things out of order. KCE NY 31. There's a letter in your packet. So they are requesting an extension of their authorizing resolution to the end of this year because they are still negotiating with LIPA on the final improvements they need to do. Is that diplomatic enough?
Despite the fact that they thought they would be finished by now.
Yeah.
Damn. The shame.
Any questions about that?
That's a Shoreham one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. motion on this one as well?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Sticking with jumping around, LIBDC, we are sponsoring a dinner on June 10th. We didn't get a great response when we sent out the email if anybody's interested in attending. Not that there was a lot of no's, but there just wasn't a real great response. So I just wanted to bring it up again and see. I know, Frank, that you can't attend, but beyond that, is anybody interested in going?
I'll be there.
Sorry.
I will.
I had to negotiate with my wife since it's her birthday, so that's why the delay. It's amazing.
Negotiate.
Yeah,
Mitch,
That would have never.
we could celebrate with the whole group.
I understand.
Yeah.
You can imagine that what reaction that.
Yeah.
Blame it on me.
The last birthday you
Not
said.
so good.
For the last birthday he celebrates.
Just a reminder that the subject that evening is Brookhaven National Lab.
Yeah,
Right, so it should be very good.
I can go.
Anne Marie is a yes. Did I hear any other yays?
I'm in Florida.
That's a nay, all right.
I'm in Syracuse, fire chief.
What did you do wrong?
It's my birthday, my mom's birthday. I think we're going out that night.
Okay,
Bring them along.
Birthday week, Gemini.
Okay.
Yeah, look at Kate.
I'm the 8th, my mom's the 7th.
okay, thank you. Keeping with the theme of quick and getting things taken care of, we received a letter from Empire State Development. Apparently, there was a difference of opinion on how bond allocation should be, volume cap should be calculated, and originally we were told that we had 11,087,000, and they came back and said our new allocation is 11,162,000. So the our bond allocation increased by about, less than $100,000. So just FYI.
Better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick.
Certainly. Yeah, they're not even on the same.
Well said.
I was an English major.
Yeah.
We're down to 2 on the LDC.
Yeah.
so.
Okay, so I think that's all the low hanging fruit I have. So just to jump into some of the things that we have to discuss in no particular order. You have a particular order you want me to bring this up?
I do not,
All right, so then
your choice.
WF 12, we received a letter which was included in your packets, sort of explaining why they didn't make their job creation numbers. And so just to remind everybody, at our last meeting, or maybe the meeting before, you voted to send a default letter, which was done. We included the default and the recapture amount in that letter, and this was the response that we got. They put in a request to,
Was there a letter sent prior to that they didn't respond to? Were they them?
no, they sent their their response to the annual report was lackluster.
Okay.
Actually, this letter that they sent probably would have been more appropriate for a response to our annual report, but. So they've asked if they can come in and present to you. I didn't want to have them come in today. I don't know, them coming in and presenting, the question is, do you want to consider keeping them on, or are you ready to terminate them? And recapture, which is what our letter said.
Should we listen to what they have to say, or
What'd you say?
should we listen to what they have to say, or at this point, it's too far
Did you
gone?
read the letter?
There's no immediate prospects.
It's
There's
what?
nothing out there.
There's nothing going on.
Then terminate.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Did
that's,
we vote to do that already?
You already did, but
Yeah, when we get a letter, we bring it
yeah,
back.
it's, I bring it to you because it's not my place to say that.
Go forward.
It's over. It's over.
Go
So
forward, do you?
Yep.
do I have consensus on that?
I think that's what the board's saying.
Yeah.
so what they've said in their letter is that, is nothing
Doesn't change.
significant to change
No.
anything and, allow us to move forward. So what alternative do we have but to continue in the same direction? And
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Thank you.
I told some of you, I just came back from a significantly long trip down south. And if you think we've got a lot of empty warehouses here, just go south on Route 81 from Harrisburg now. They're all over the place. Empty.
That's a shame.
Should see the new warehouses that are going up that, a
I have not
project that we
driven by there,
denied.
but I've heard.
Oh, I saw that.
Where?
Oh,
Harry.
Arif.
Eric, yeah.
Which runs, yeah, I mean.
Try not
Over
to
over
fall
the
off
outlets.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
my
going up.
God.
it's amazing,
And no tenants.
and no tenants.
And we didn't give them. We didn't-
No, and,
Oh,
and
well, I guess the but for didn't mean
Yeah.
anything, did it?
Just Dan Baker, who is counsel for this project,
He's raising his hand.
he raised his hand.
Yeah, you wanna bring
So-
him in?
Okay, please bring him in. Yeah,
Yes,
One bringing employees. out.
yes.
yeah.
Absolutely.
The
Dan?
staff should go to.
Dan, can you hear us? He's mute.
This is for the one we're terminating?
Yeah, don't.
Hey,
Good
Dan.
afternoon, all.
Hi,
Dan.
hello.
So if I can add, and I've been listening intently, if I can add just a little bit, and with all due respect to everybody and anybody, I would certainly be remiss if I didn't jump in here and try to add a little bit of color. I think, you know, everyone knows the history of this project and others like it, dating back to the time of application and approval and the reports and analysis that were done at that time, which I will remind everybody was right in the wake of COVID. Certainly the world has changed dramatically since then. We've outlined all of this in the letter that was sent to you. But I do want to point out that, you know, while the compliance report may have been lackluster, there was an ongoing dialogue that we were having with staff and council at the end of last year into early this year to discuss being proactive and, you know, doing what we could to at least convey to the board what was going on. The direction that, you know, we took at that point was wait till, you know, the time comes to do compliance, let it go to the board and then have some discussion and come back. I think you know, Lisa's probably right that the letter that was submitted now would have been better submitted at that time. But it doesn't change the fact, you know, the facts that are included in the letter and things that have been going on, which, you know, in addition to the conversations we were having here at the IDA, there have also been conversations I was not a party to, but I think certain people on the call here may have been with the town side of things to try to find an alternative use for the property. You know, again, this is a, you know, sort of uncharted waters, but there is and has been an ongoing attempt to check the viability of a data center at this property, which, you know, on the one hand, doesn't do what the intended original use would do in terms of creation of jobs, but it could have a lot of other benefits economically that would be important. And these conversations, you know, have been going on and are still going on. And Wildflower is doing a lot of investigation, you know, with the various agencies necessary to do that. I'm trying to be, you know, concise here, but I fear that, you know, a determination here to terminate and move forward is counterproductive for everyone in the sense that, you know, this is a very large property with big financing. Lenders, you know, are just not going to take kindly to a termination of the pilot benefits. And certainly without any further discussion, I know that my clients would like the opportunity to come in and discuss this further with you. And quite honestly, you know, we would have just attended today if we really thought that this would be the, you know, the 1-2 punch from last to this meeting. And I appreciate the concerns of the board, and I, you know, recall back to 3 years ago or however long ago it was at the beginning of the process. But the fact is that the, you know, the project could not have been built and developed without the benefits, and it cannot sustain or continue. There have been discussions with, tenants, major tenants here, and quite honestly, one of them that, had some grip to it ultimately went away because that tenant that I think everyone, knows by my description who it might be, is not interested in doing anything with IDA benefits surrounding it because of the notoriety that they get for those type of projects. And sadly, that one fell through. We had even talked about subdividing the the lots where the three buildings are to accommodate that and maybe pull that out of the pilot. So there's been a lot that Wildflower has done. It's not simple, hey, we're throwing out a sign on the side of the road to try and get a tenant here. But again, I do fear that a termination will lead to, a spiral potentially for this property that does nobody any good. So with that, I would ask that the board reconsider and give us the opportunity to come in next month and maybe present a little more to you so that you have everything before making a decision. And ultimately, our goal would be to seek an extension of the FTE compliance period, which was the end of 2025 to the end of this year to see what can be done.
Any members of the board have any comments?
We'll come back on the.
So one point to keep in mind is that even if the board terminates them and then tomorrow you find a viable subtenant, they can come back and we can consider the project with the subtenant. It's not a
Divorce forever.
is there ever divorce forever? There's always the whole, you never know. Okay.
So in reality, this is a situation where we are doing something today. But that does not necessarily mean we could not do something different going forward if circumstances change.
Correct.
I think that's the point you're trying to make.
So we go through the entire termination, we can terminate them. The day after we sign the documents, they find somebody, they can come back.
One, maybe one or all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be on all the properties.
Then I'm more comfortable.
Right.
Correct.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay.
The door can open again.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would just add to that, though, it doesn't change the fact that there's a large recapture and the property goes right back onto the tax rolls.
That's your job. That's our job.
Yeah, that does stand.
I mean, again, understanding and appreciating the board's, role in who you're looking to protect here. I do get that, but the downside to Wildflower is traumatic, and to, I hate to say kick the can, but it's only seeking to do it for at least a month.
But
Let's go.
Dan, this board has certain things that they must do, and, all due respect, it was December 31st of 2025.
Yeah.
We're already almost in June. So the board has to go forward, in our opinion.
Great.
Okay, so
Okay.
Dan, while we have you on, I'm gonna switch gears for 1 second unless anybody had any other questions on WF 12. I'm gonna switch gears to WF 13. So just to alert everyone, this is the project on National Boulevard, so west
Medford.
of Sills, south of Forest Block.
Behind the appliance co-op.
Yeah, intercounty,
Oh.
next to intercounty appliance,
Now I know.
that area. So this is also a spec warehouse, and they have, feel that? It's like an earthquake. They have, pickleball heaven in their space. They did not make their job creation numbers either. They were at 49%, as of, December, and I do have the letter that they sent explaining why they didn't make their job creation. They're working on trying to find another subtenant basically. But in the interim, it's come to our attention that Pickleball Heaven is having house parties. Beer, drinks,
Concerts.
Smoke machines.
smoke machines, which is a violation of the town code. Although I will tell you, Pickleball Heaven's open till 2 in the morning. I don't know who's playing pickleball at.
Smoke machine comes in.
It's apparently everyone loves this pickleball site of all the ones that are around the area.
It's a happy
Nice place,
place.
yeah.
So even at a Halfton place, you can't have house parties, although I do hear there's a Kruger party coming up, so.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if, I think you guys might want to, take action on this, because part of what they agree to is that they will. I see your hand, Dan, I know, I'm gonna let you speak, but you come through the IDA, you have to have all your Ts crossed, your Is dotted, you can't have, violations of your town zonings,
And they haven't met their job creation numbers.
and they haven't met their job creation numbers.
Have they received violations over there with regard to this?
The fire marshal has been there and
Yeah,
given them a
that's how
notice.
we found out.
That's how I found out at 4:48 yesterday. That's why it was a late add on here today.
Yeah,
What was the amount of jobs?
sorry. They told us they would have.
Jimmy, this wasn't the original use. This was another warehouse. And they were fortunate to find somebody
Right.
to offset some of the cost
Yeah, we,
of an empty warehouse,
yeah, we.
which we allowed.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a good point. There's a prohibition against retail in IDA projects, but there are certain caveats where you can put it. And so we were able to put Pickleball Heaven in here because they fell under one of those caveats, but
Only a portion.
only a portion of it. So the rest of it has to have a there might be a little piece that could still be retail, but basically the rest of it needs to be a non-retail space. They told us they would have 45 jobs, they had 22. FTEs, full-time equivalent.
Right.
So 49%
Yeah.
of the goal that they were supposed to meet. And this again was as of December 31st, 2025.
Right.
Dan, did you wanna?
Yeah, so let's tackle FTEs first. So yes, they did qualify under the 1/3 rule, I'll call it, for retail. We did discover along the way that there is another potential exception for this property, which is that the property is located within an Empire Zone. Of course, there's a process to, seek approval from the board and then ultimately from the supervisor to confirm that. But, I've done those types of approvals in other jurisdictions. Again, it's up to the board to ultimately approve it, but in my opinion, if they qualify and found tenants that would work, it's certainly something to bring, and it's certainly something they are looking at. Also, Pickleball Heaven, conservatively gave that number at the end, thinking that that number is going to grow through this year based on the next thing I'll talk about. It seems like, there's reason why they need more employees. As to the fire marshal violations, this is something I wasn't aware of until Lisa brought it to my attention this morning. Again, my client is Wildflower, not Pickleball Heaven. And likewise, the agreement with the IDA is with Wildflower, not Pickleball Heaven. That said, I think, there's a concern here that I have, much like if, back in my my lawyer puppy days when I did some criminal defense work, you can't sentence them until they've either had a trial or took a plea or did something. If there are violations, I don't know what they are, if they're going to, what the status of those will be. So I think my simple point is, until there's any further information about this, I don't know how the board can act on
Well, aren't
that.
there?
We could act on it now.
What's that?
So the fire marshals will be there Saturday night, so you'll probably have your summonses then.
Yeah, well, they won't be in my hands, but I hear you in that. I'm just saying that, it seems to
Friday
me
night?
that maybe it's a little early to rush to judgment here
Saturday.
for
Well, but
what's
they're
happening there.
they're publicly advertising that, you know, what's gonna take place, right? I mean, you may not be aware, but we just reported it, so we're, you know,
Yeah.
that's. what
No,
we're
I understand that. And again, not having been to one of their house parties or whatever it is they throw, I just
You're
don't
around
know.
on Saturday, you know? It's gonna be your first.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to preemptively default everybody for something that may happen, that may be a violation or may not, I don't know.
I think we were terminating anyway, weren't we terminating anyway?
This is a different one.
This is a different,
Ah, okay.
this is a different thing.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Well,
The
listen,
drinks are cheap. Just saying.
They have a liquor license for a van to pull up and serve beer?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but that's.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay.
Worse than.
Okay.
I think for that part of it, we need to give them
right.
a little bit of time to
Well, they-
clean up their act.
They have to get,
Or to be, just because the fire marshal gives them a legal summons does not mean they're convicted of it or they
Correct.
plead guilty.
Yeah,
We should let that part of it play its way out
correct.
before taking any action on that until something happens. Okay, and when that happens, then we can take action on it, whatever we feel to do so. That would be my recommendation.
How does the board feel about the job creation?
Not good.
Disappointed.
Not good at all.
So, I mean, that's
I don't know,
something
it's-
else you need to discuss.
I mean, if you're
Dan,
gonna
do you
put
know if
down,
there's
you're gonna
anything
put down a number on an application, it should be a relatively accurate number. I mean, not
Well, I
half
guess-
of what you anticipated.
well,
Less
they
judgment.
I
rent,
try to do some conservative work when I have to do those kinds of things,
Mhm.
so that I exceed my goals, not,
Mhm.
not go in the opposite direction.
they've only rented almost 56,000 square feet of the total roughly 130,000 square feet.
Right.
So there's
It's a big empty building.
74,000 square feet that's vacant. Depending on who comes in there, will they make up the other, what did I say, 23
Right.
employees? I don't know if I did the math right.
Right,
but-
this is not a pickleball issue. This is a
It's a wild
WF
card.
issue.
WF, correct. They're gonna-
WF is the applicant, WF is the
Right.
guarantor of the job.
But you do approve the subtenants.
No, I understand.
And they agree to,
I'm not,
Abide by the,
I'm not arguing that, but in the end, WF is the job guarantor,
yes.
not the pickleball people.
Correct.
right.
The pickleball people are there, they are providing a benefit, leaving out the violations, like whatever happens, happens. They're providing 49% of the jobs. I think that was the number.
Yep.
You came up with.
Yeah.
So, from my perspective, it's a much different thing than if there was nobody there,
Right.
which is the first discussion we had, which is why I think we were so concerned about that. I mean, yes, I'm concerned about the not fulfillment of the total number, but to me, it's a much smaller issue than the first one. So, while, and I think Dan is hearing the same, the concerns expressed. I would give them another month or 2 months to see what comes in. I think that also gives us an opportunity to find out what happens with the violations.
Yeah.
And then we can take action together at one time if necessary. That would be my thought.
Sounds like-
And keep in mind that there's a bunch of different ways to handle this. You could say, you could terminate, you could adjust the pilot.
Right.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be on the whole building. You could say, we're willing to support pickleball heaven and the rest of the building is gonna pay full taxation. So we can
Right.
Mhm.
adjust those numbers.
But I'd like to know what happens with the violations first,
Correct.
whatever
And
happens.
does anyone
Yeah.
want to consider giving them till the end of the year to meet their job creation numbers?
Well, we're gonna, it'll,
Only just
I
wait a
mean,
month
I-
or two, I don't know
I
about the
think
end of the year.
after they get through whatever events are going on over there and we see what happens, let's have another discussion.
Are they
Really?
not getting the job creation because they don't have enough members? Is that,
No,
No, well,
I think the,
because
think
there's
that-
another pickleball place right down the block.
right, but I don't think the pickleball people At least then, I don't think the pickleball people ever intended to have 49 employees.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, 'cause you,
the whole facility
Well,
intended to
90.
have 49
Right.
employees. The pickleball people have what they believe they need
okay,
for their,
Gonna have to do.
okay, so they're,
right, so I don't think it's,
It's
like,
not
you
a
know,
pickleball.
going back to the
Right.
pickleball people and said, you gotta add 20 people. That's not the
You're gonna
intent of
And the
this.
pickleball people are only occupying a little less than half the space.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Jimmy, this was a warehouse.
So it's a WF problem.
Right.
It needs
That's
to,
correct.
yeah,
It's their problem.
right,
I think the pickleball people are doing the best they can,
oh, okay.
right.
leaving the violations out of the
Right.
equation for the
Oh,
moment.
yeah.
They have.
People because of the parties.
And they made,
There you go.
I will say that pickleball did indicate that the
Right.
jobs might increase. Again, I don't know if the, the marketing
More than
strategy
double, that's
calls
not
for it or
seem
not, I don't know, but,
I would suggest we give them a couple of months
Yeah.
and then see what
I
happens.
agree.
Then we can make a decision, a collective, an informed decision.
You wanna put a date on it, Mitch?
The July meeting.
Yeah.
I'll go a little further.
Yeah.
Beginning of the summer?
Go to September, the September meeting, see what happens between now and September, then we can make a
See,
decision.
Dan, if you're hearing that, we'll review
I
the
heard.
job numbers till September and the violations probably at our next meeting.
Right.
got it.
So Dan, will you have your client send us an updated letter? We'll send a letter requesting it, but just, we're gonna ask them for an updated job number, letter for our September meeting, which I don't know off the top of my head.
Got it.
And we may want, Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may want to send a copy of that letter to the attorney for the pickleball. So that they know what's going on.
With the job numbers?
Well, just whatever letter you're sending to WF. I think a copy should go to the pickleball people. Either Dan can send it or we can send it.
Yeah,
But I don't
I'll
want-
certainly
I don't
pass
want-
it
I don't
along.
think it's fair to
I think Dan
leave
should-
them
Yeah.
without
Yeah,
knowing
Mitch.
what's going on.
Mitch, I think Dan should send that rather than.
Fine.
Yes,
Fine.
yes,
So Dan,
absolutely.
will you please do that?
Yes,
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Lisa, Dan mentioned, the Empire Zone program.
Yes.
As I understand it, the Empire Zone program has ended except for people who are already in it.
So it.
But there's
ended
another,
like-
there's a successor program.
No, well, there is the Excelsior program. It ended in like 2017, I think. But the way the law is written, there's a caveat for the retail. One of them is if you're in or adjacent to, I think that's how it's phrased, an Empire Zone program. So an Empire Zone. So that's why he's referencing it, because they are
yeah.
in close proximity, if not in the old Empire Zone.
Yeah.
From the retail.
We're not comfortable with retail anyway, even though there is an exception that allows pickleball there, yeah.
Right,
That's
we
not-
haven't
That's
done
not
a
our
lot.
mission.
Yeah,
Maybe
we
this
haven't done a
place
lot
is a
of-
destination, didn't know about it.
Well, obviously it is.
Well, if they're coming from out of the jurisdiction, then it's a tourist destination.
Then we need to have
Cougars.
From city.
On their way out to the entrance for the.
Okay.
They bus.
Okay.
They bus in.
Okay, so, still jumping around a little bit, the next
We did.
item on our agenda that I'm gonna bring up next is data centers. And this does kind of tie into WF 12 because part of their letter was that they are, there may or may not be a data center going in there, but, there's been some discussion about data centers and some, basically, what I want to speak to this board about is, do you want to have data centers in your projects? Which, if a data center project came forward, would you be comfortable having that as a project?
It's not creating any jobs.
I
We
don't,
need
I
to
don't,
know more about the impacts of
Yeah.
Right.
data centers.
Right.
A
One of
lot of
them
energy
is
and a lot of water.
energy need, and the other one is a huge amount of water.
and I
No
can-
job.
and I can
Totally
add 'em-
dependent.
Right.
We are
Right.
totally dependent on our sole source aquifer. And the more that somebody else takes, that's a zero sum.
I
And
mean,
there's-
if we're trying to create jobs, from my knowledge, a data center is not the place because there's not too many bodies that are physically there. It's kind of operated
None.
remotely
Mhm.
and a concern, and there's been,
Takes a lot of electricity
many-
too, doesn't it?
you know,
Yes.
Sucks down electricity.
yeah. I mean, I think the
Electricity.
technology is
two resources that
It
are
needs to catch up with
limited on.
I think
the
the
problems
number I
that
heard, I
have
don't
resolved
know,
out of it.
I don't know if Andrew or Barry, were you in that session of the data centers? Last week in Cooperstown? I think the woman from NYSERDA said there may be as many as, I think I remember 32.
That's what-
That sound right?
Yes.
Yeah, 32 that have been kind of teed up. Most of which will never be built, but they're teed up anyway, and it really is a big energy concern. So. I
The town
don't,
board is very concerned also.
Well, but,
What is
you
it?
know,
I don't,
The
yeah.
town board is
Yeah,
very concerned
again,
also.
in my opinion, that issue, whether we should have data centers, is not our responsibility. It's the town board's responsibility. I think we feel, or at least I feel, that we should not finance them
Right.
because they don't create jobs. That doesn't mean the town board may decide it's good for other purposes, or whatever it is, or the state of New York takes local zoning out for data centers, which they could easily do. But those are decisions way beyond us. I think from our perspective, I would feel uncomfortable helping and finance it because it's not doing what we intend to do, which is create jobs. The other issues are not our issues.
Annette,
what did
you say about
the
town board? Town board's very concerned with them also, and,
And that's
will
their
be.
decision.
yeah,
So if.
right?
Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I agree with what you said, although at the same time, I don't want, an applicant to feel that, I want to know that we are doing it or we're not doing it. So, we should provide some kind of direction so that they're aware.
So if
Well-
you recall,
And,
Okay.
yeah, personally, I'm not in favor of it.
so.
But I don't think they would.
What I was gonna say, I don't think we need a resolution. I think if we have a consensus, and I think we do, among the board members, gives Lisa direction if she gets one of those wild phone calls.
Yes.
no, you're not gonna accept the.
But you're not
Correct.
gonna, yeah, but wouldn't they have to go past town first before they come to us?
Well,
Is that usually?
They go on the same route, but
Yeah, but it,
stay tuned, the town will be taking.
so, and the other thing is, there was a point.
Coming soon.
There was a point where you told me you didn't wanna do self-storage.
Yep.
So every time I got one of those phone calls, I said, they're not interested. They're not interested. They're not interested. I had a couple of people that said, well, we really wanna bring our application forward, and I said, send a letter. Sent a letter, you guys said, we're still not interested.
Yeah, but this,
I
Yeah.
could handle that the same way,
no
or
letters.
you could.
We're not even sure if it fits in the L1 zoning.
Okay,
We're doing
okay.
perhaps an interpretation of that.
So I hear that we're not gonna support data centers.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so keeping with taking things out of order, the next item on our agenda is housing.
Drum roll.
Data,
A big housing.
data.
So I think everybody knows that we have been discussing housing for a year. Longer, it's been a while.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. yeah.
Okay,
One study was last June.
we've had 3 studies done. We've received, 2, passionate letters that I shared with the board. Outlining that they disagreed with the Des Moines study. I think we're kind of to the point where we need to take action because there's projects that are sort of waiting in the wings, uncertain as to where we're gonna be with housing. So,
I would like, we're not in executive session. But I think it's important that everybody here express how they feel about housing. And specifically, I'd like to go around the room and ask each one of you how you feel about our agency supporting housing. We've been doing it 1 or 2 projects a very long time ago, more recently.
market rate housing, that's what we're talking about. I just wanna add
Not
that
affordable
caveat.
housing.
Not
Market rate.
affordable housing,
Affordable.
not 100% affordable housing, just the market rate housing.
John?
Not a fan, as I've expressed in the past. I don't like that we're subsidizing.
Can you speak a little louder so make sure we pick it up?
I'm not a fan of it, and I've expressed that in the past. I feel like we're subsidizing, at the taxpayers' expense, developers, which I just don't agree with that, especially when I'm paying $30,000 a year for taxes for my own home, and I'm subsidizing these other projects. I just think it hurts the way of life, the suburban way of life on Long Island, which I think we've kind of thrown that out the window already. And I'm just not in favor of it anymore at this point.
I'll ask you and I'll ask everybody else the same question. What about the shortage of housing? The whole idea of younger people moving off Long Island or go to school off Long Island and never come back.
I think developing those type of projects imports people from out of town that I don't think appreciate the way of life that we have here on Long Island. And if, I'm not really that concerned about people leaving, because if they want to be here, they want to be here, and you can make it here if you want to try. If you're going to be lazy, then you're going to have to go someplace else. But I don't, that for some reason with me, that doesn't float with me. I don't wanna, not everybody deserves to be here if you don't wanna accept our way of life.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of fed up with it.
Okay. Anne Marie?
I no longer support, and the reason is,
She no longer.
I no longer support our agency funding housing, and the reasons are that I don't think the tools that we have, tax abatements and so forth, are not capable in the current marketplace, at least, of support, encouraging the development of the housing that is most needed. That is low housing that can be afforded by low and moderate income people. We can futz around at the edges with requiring a few more affordable units in a market rate project. And that just doesn't work. It doesn't address the volume of the need. One of the things we learned from the Camoin study was that 62% of renters in the town of Brookhaven are cost per, meaning they pay more than 30% of their income in rent. It is not possible for us, by futzing around at the edges of market rate projects, to address that volume of need. And if we're not addressing where the need is, then what's the point of doing it? We are depriving our taxing jurisdictions of revenue without going anywhere close to solving the problem. I know that we would like to do that. We wish it were possible for us to do that. But the need is beyond. Well, if we were a little piece of a much bigger set of activities that were addressing that need, then it might make sense, but we're not. So I'm glad to answer any questions you guys may have.
You have a solution? Just curious.
We need to make a much bigger public investment in affordable housing. I mean, I can't, if there's another, if there's a way to do it in the market system, hey, come on, let's hear the ideas. But the only way that I see to do it is by increasing investment at every level of government in low and moderate income, that housing that serves low and moderate income people.
Mitch?
Obviously, I disagree with the positions of the first two speakers, but that's understandable.
We love you.
I understand. Well, sometimes.
All the time. We don't also
Listen,
agree with you.
the housing and its lack thereof is probably the most important issue facing Long Island at the moment. We are never gonna solve it, the town of Brookhaven idea. That's clear. However, we can help find solutions with it even on market rate units. And applying a percentage of affordable units as part of that. And I'm more than happy to discuss what that number should be. Anybody who gets one of those units feels very good. We've solved the problem for them. They're paying significantly less than the market rate unit person who may be next to them. And the only reason they're there to get that unit is because the unit next to them is market rate and subsidizes the rent that is not being collected completely. We have an affordability issue. We clearly have a supply issue. We have a land issue, okay? Only 5% of the town of Brookhaven is zoned multifamily, 5%, okay? If that was 50%, we'd be having a much different conversation. It's 5%, so that every project is a discussion point as to what's gonna happen. I feel very strongly this IDA should continue to fund housing. We can put on whatever additional restrictions we think is appropriate. But if we don't, then the supply of new housing in the town is gonna be minimized, less than it would be. And I don't think that's in the best interest of the town or its residents or its school districts, or anybody in that context. So that's my opinion.
Mitch, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
How many of these projects you think won't be built if we don't help them?
I don't, at the moment, I think many of them will not be built, or will be built, if they have to be built, to even have a higher rent than they have now. Here's the point about high rents, okay? If the rents were so high, people wouldn't go into them. The units are full when they're built, whether it's $3,000 or $4,000 a month, whatever the number happens to be, depending on where it happens to be, depending on what the cost was in building it in that regard. So, yeah, I think a number of those projects will not happen. If you read the Camoin report, which I'm sure you did as I did, they'll tell you that there are certain contexts. And we're no longer in a situation where money is available for these projects willy-nilly. Money goes anywhere at the moment. Capital money goes anywhere. A developer does not go into left-hand pocket and fund it themselves. They go to the appropriate financial institutions and need the money to do that. Financial institutions want to know how much the tax bill is going to be each year. It's not so much what the tax bill is, it's knowing what the tax bill is for 10 or 15 years in that regard. That is even more important, because then you can figure out what your rate of return going to be and how you're going to make that happen in that regard, and whether somebody's going to lend you the money to build it in that regard. Okay, we all look at, one of the great success stories in this community is Ronkonkoma. Okay, that only got built because we helped. And yes, there's not enough affordable. I'm not arguing good affordable units, bad affordable units. But the only reason that got built was because of the IDA. And if we want other places like that, Mastic is gonna be the same thing. They're gonna want IDA benefits, and we're gonna turn around and say, okay.
Yeah,
But they're all grandfathered.
Yeah.
No, I understand that, but the point is, Mastic hopefully will be another success story for this town. Okay, this IDA has helped in making that a success story. But just eliminating it, to me, is gonna eliminate the possibility of other success stories in the town.
Can we do it more affordable? I mean,
Well, we can
you're
do-
right. Ronkonkoma was a shithole when it was first,
Right.
before it was built.
Look,
But if you- I'm sorry, but, sorry.
Developers use that.
I drove past it before we did anything, and the bus company and everything else. I agree.
Of course,
But the rents are through the roof.
but the rent,
So-
but Marty, the rents are through the roof, and it's 99%
I'm not arguing with you on that
And
one.
I will bet you,
Not arguing.
and I think if you ask the Coglins, they will tell you that almost everybody who lives there now lived on Long Island before they moved in.
That could be,
Okay?
but
And many of them lived in the town of Brookhaven before they moved in.
it's still not helping anybody, 3,600.
It's helping. Here's the point. Here's the point. Here's the point. When I sell my house and I want to go into an over 55, or at the moment over 74, but that's besides the point, okay? That opens my house for somebody else to buy.
Right.
Okay? I have to have some place to go before somebody will buy my house.
Right.
When they buy my house, they come out of an apartment on Long Island, because 80% of the homes sold on Long Island are sold to people who already live on Long Island. We don't get too many people coming from Austin, Texas, but we might like to, okay? So that's so without the apartment first, that person who wants to buy my house is not here. And if they're not here, when they want to buy my house, they're not buying my house. And so the value of my house, because of the numbers,
Goes
goes
up.
down, or goes down, because I don't have as many applicants. That's how I look at it.
But it's like John was saying, the developers are getting richer on what we're doing. The fact that
I don't.
they would still build the project.
I don't
One of the
do that.
projects that we said no to was,
Right, I get it.
the one, Heatherwood,
Heather, I get it.
okay? He built it
I get it.
without our help.
And as a result of that, I'm not arguing the
Yep,
point,
yep.
we would have gotten 40 affordable units, which we didn't get.
What's the rent going for over
Well,
there?
the rent is, doesn't matter what the rent is. It's in the free- it's in the-
Doesn't it matter what the rent
No,
is? If
because
62%
I
of the
understand
renters
that.
in Brookhaven are paying,
I understand that,
over-
and we could have,
and they are
right, and we could have helped 40 of them, okay?
Of
If
the-
we had financed it,
of
keep
the,
the rents down.
I said yes to that project, just so you know.
of the 166,000 affordable units that Long Island needs.
I understand that, but my point is, then you know what should have
Then we
happened?
can do it.
Then you
back
know
on
what
the
should have
ballot.
happened? The town of Brookhaven should have bought the land and built affordable units,
There you go.
okay? That would have solved the problem.
Yeah,
Except I don't see the town of Brookhaven deciding to buy the land for 20, 25, 30 million dollars, okay? It's an interesting context. The town and the county and the state will spend millions and millions of dollars to buy open space. Not arguing the point,
Mhm.
they won't spend $20 to build a lot for housing. Okay, so
But we are doing some, just to defend the town.
I'm not arguing
Got
it's not the
here.
town issue.
They, we are
municipality.
doing a very, very nice project with mother-daughter houses in Bellport. And it's land that was given to us by the county. The town's highly involved in it. Well, in partnerships doing it. So we are trying to do projects like that. It'll be single-family homes with accessory
I
apartments,
get it.
but, the town doesn't have the wherewithal to.
Whoa. How much money is the town spending on open space?
What's that?
Just don't forget that the town has, if you do a housing project, the town requires that 5% of the
Right.
units are set aside at 50% and 5% of the units are set
Right.
aside at.
So on that Heatherwoods, we did get affordable housing.
Yeah.
That's not true.
We would have gotten more.
No, because what they've been doing is just building the workforce on our
120.
dime. It is 80 of 120.
No, 120% of the.
And-
AMI,
And Annette,
which
I've
is
said-
not really affordable.
And I've said, what do you mean? The 80% is affordable. Okay, 80% of AMI is affordable. If we want,
120.
well, I've said from the beginning, the 120 number is an outlier and we should change that.
So what they
Okay.
would have done on
Without that.
Heatherwood, you would have gotten the town affordable and workforce housing at
Right.
50 and 65, and then you would have got our 120. So
No,
it wouldn't have been, it would have been
I understand.
no
We're getting
extra.
A little off the track here though.
I don't
I
have a
think this
gavel,
is good.
but
I'm
Excuse me,
enjoying the
I don't have a gavel.
conversation, I'll be honest.
I'm liking this one.
Frank,
Frank,
Ron,
Oh, am I on?
Yeah.
You're
I
on.
was just,
Marty
I
started.
was just sitting, I was sitting back and enjoying
but
the,
Marty,
No, but I feel the same way.
wave that was going
I
back
feel
and
the same
forth.
way with housing.
Which-
Marty started saying, talking, he never finished, so.
Oh,
Yeah, state your case.
I still feel the same thing. I feel that they would build anyway, just my opinion. It has happened before. You know, my son was living in Farmingdale, paying $3,600 a month not at one of our projects, because it was in Nassau. The rent was going up to 3,800 for a 1-bedroom apartment. He was lucky enough to get out of there and buy a house. I get it, but he was there for a couple of years. If that, what forced him to get a house was the rent roll. Couldn't afford the rent roll anymore. So it keeps going up and up and up. I bet you if he inquired about the rent there, that's probably like $4,000 a month for a 1-bedroom. I mean, something has to change. What it is, I don't know either. We're talking here, what needs to be done? I don't know,
Either the land has to be given for free,
which is not gonna happen.
okay, which is
It's
one
not
option.
correct.
okay? Or the cost of building the property has to go down substantially. So
That's
the
not
only-
gonna happen
Which
either.
is not gonna happen.
I
So
agree.
We're left with a situation where we have high costs on Long Island, okay? We all understand that. The rents relate to that because of the fact that we don't have enough rental units. That's the problem, okay? We don't have enough single-family units at the moment, which is why the house across the street from me sold for $1 million.
Well, maybe we should.
I'm looking at it like crazy.
Single family houses with tax abatements as opposed to multi-family houses.
There you go.
I mean, if somebody wants to buy a house.
Frank, get in.
you know, like
I'm
I said,
trying, Frank.
Frank,
Brad,
Go
are
ahead.
you enjoying the
Jimmy.
conversation? You're sitting back there like.
He-
But no,
He's liking
I
it.
think the dialogue is excellent, we're voicing a variety of things. And even though there's some disagreement here, each has brought a few things out there that we need to consider. But my personal opinion is, what are we here for? And why are we here? We're creating jobs. I think if we're talking about workforce and affordable housing, that's the place we need to be. I think that, developers will build and people will buy. And I don't know if we should be doing, I don't think we should be doing in that business. I think as the example that you gave, somebody selling their house over here and they're reaping a good amount of money so that they can live and go into those apartments that we're saying are very high, but they can afford to go in there because they sold the house. And that younger person is able to reduce their cost by buying a house. And that's the cycle. But I don't think we're gonna have any, I think a developer is going to build that no matter what. I think our focus needs to be on workforce and affordable, and we need to, do what we can to raise that level so that we can put more affordable houses, more affordable housing into the market in Brookhaven town.
Thank you. Jimmy,
I agree with
who would
Marty.
be?
I agree with Marty, and I agree with Frank and John, and Anne Marie. Mitch made a lot of good points. But, I think they're gonna build it anyway. That's really it.
I think some will build it anyway, depending on.
The jobs,
Well, not so much that. I
permanent
think they're
jobs.
On their own financial.
What are the
structure.
permanent jobs?
What's that?
After it's built, what are the permanent jobs? 3 or 4?
Well, that's not the point for housing.
They're not gonna
I
change
found an
that.
article that went back to 2020 the other day, 2020. Yeah, 2020. Housing where jobs go to sleep at night. So we're trying to create the jobs, but if we create jobs, where are they gonna go? Where are they sleeping? Where are they living?
but I think the point that a lot of the board members made is the jobs we create, they can't afford those apartments.
What's affordability these days? The 30% number?
Well, that's the other
been
thing.
around
Look at,
for
look
40
at the
or 50
numbers of affordability. If you go back, but, a few years back, way back, you said affordable housing, everybody just, kind of cringed at my neighborhood, right? I mean, that was the attitude at that. Today, you look at those numbers and you see what affordability is, and it's your average neighbor. It's somebody you know.
You have those
It-
numbers,
it-
don't you, Lisa?
It's all around us.
You want
Those-
the numbers?
You want the numbers?
Throw those numbers out there because I don't think people, this board's aware of them, but I don't think the public is aware of those numbers. And
Okay, so if we're talking about a 2-bedroom apartment, which means that you can have 3 people in it. And these numbers are gonna change June 1st, so I'm still working in today's numbers, but they're gonna change. At 70% of the AMI, just to bring it down even a little bit, That means that the family they're capped at a salary of 103,800. And the rent is capped at $2,595. So $2,600, and that's at 70% of the AMI. So that's
And
That's
the income is
higher than the town
100.
numbers.
higher than the town numbers,
Yeah.
and I can give you, I've got some other ones.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Living on Long Island is expensive.
Yes.
Our
We're not gonna change
CFO,
We're not
that.
moving.
Over here.
Or I can get a copy. For a 2-bedroom apartment at 80% of the AMI. It's just shy of $3,000, $2,968 per month. And 90% of the AMI is $3,339 a month. So you're talking 26 to $3,300 a month for a 2-bedroom at 70, 80, or 90% of the AMI. A lot of money.
My concern also, if the board takes a position and all we're gonna do is affordable housing. I'm not an expert in tax credits, but we have 3 lawyers here that know that business pretty well. We have 2 lawyers that represent us sitting at the table. I don't think there are enough tax credits coming out of Albany that would give us any room to do that kind of thing, right?
When we look at what's going on in Mastic Beach, when we look at what's going on in Wampanoag, it's a little different situation there. We're taking a blighted area and turning it around and doing a whole, I mean, so if you look at Ronkonkoma, what year did Ronkonkoma start? With that
Probably
project? What-
86 or so, maybe.
Right, look at 86 to today. And look at what we did there, which is outstanding. But we wouldn't have done that project if it wasn't the blighted community that it was, and so.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
just
different
remember,
situation.
in
That's-
Mastic, we keep using that as an example, but a lot of that's gonna be for sale, and the IDA will not be involved.
Say that again?
A lot of the Mastic redevelopment is gonna be for sale. The IDA is just one small portion of it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
just a few rentals. Most of that's gonna be for sale condos.
Yeah.
We will not be involved.
That's a good.
So if I do a head count, it appears that there are only 2 of us here that would continue to finance housing the way we currently do. And there are 5 who would go the other direction.
So Fred, you got your answer. You asked the
I'm
question.
afraid I do.
You asked me, what can we do? But one of the things that somebody said, I mean, somebody on the other side of the table, whoever it was. There's nothing we can do about costs. Is that true?
Well,
Are there costs?
we're helping costs.
I know that, the folks who did the Station Yards project have also done a significant amount of building, near Dulles Airport
Texas,
in Virginia.
Virginia, I'm sorry.
And some project, I don't remember what the project was, I think it was a mixed-use project. They got approval in less than 6 months. And the same project here
Mhm.
would have taken a multiple of that.
It did take.
That's true.
Started in 86.
And that sounds like something that we ought to be able to do something about.
Well, unfortunately, we can't.
It's beyond
Okay.
that.
I mean,
The town
the
can.
people,
Right, the town
Right.
can, but they are. The likelihood of that happening is slim, okay?
under current
And in
circumstances.
reality, we are helping to subsidize the cost of building any project, okay, us.
Sure.
And that helps in reducing the rents to the extent that it can be reduced, especially the affordable units, because in many cases, the affordable unit and the market rate unit are the same unit. They just happen to be
Mhm.
marketed differently in that regard, because we don't want there to be one building with just affordable units. Then you're basically talking about segregation in a different context. You don't want that.
Yeah.
You want them to be intermixed.
And if you have almost 2/3 of the residents of the town who are renters paying more than 30% of their income for rent, then maybe it should, I don't know, maybe that the number's been around for 50 years, maybe it should be different. That I don't know, but that's the benchmark that we have.
But your point of.
What is the likelihood? It seems to me pretty likely that some of those people who have flocked to rent those really expensive market rate apartments are paying more than 30% of their income for rent.
100%.
Yeah, but your point
Or they have
of the
roommates.
process,
That's
the
the other way
process
they do
and,
it.
and how in other places is a lot shorter process and a quicker process. You know, for example, if Brookhaven, town, you know, which tries to move these things along,
Mhm.
but that's only one aspect of the whole process, because you've got all of these other agencies. So unless all these agencies came together as one and made a commitment to go in that direction, it will never happen. Because, you know, one or two layers could say, okay, we're gonna expedite this for you, but they're gonna get stuck with the other 5 layers that a builder or developer has
If
to
that's
go
a
through.
40-year project, that's the same
Right.
timeline as got a station yards.
Right.
So
And-
why
and-
not start?
Right, but no, I'm saying
Mhm.
that's what has to be done.
Mhm.
Will it ever get done? I don't know. But that's what
certainly
raised
not
those
gonna be-
costs. What raises those costs? If you anticipated being able to build that project in a 2-year period or 3-year, whatever that is, and it's 4 and 5 years that you finally get to get it completed. You've paid all those costs, you've paid all that during that period of time. That has got to go into the equation of why you're charging for the rent that you're charging or
Those
whatever.
station yards had a lot of infrastructure costs in it too. It was also, the whole project was grandfathered before affordable and workforce housing was required. So there's not one unit in there that's affordable or workforce, just so you know.
Mhm.
And that will continue till we do the last phases
Mhm.
because they are grandfathered.
thing.
They have
That
their
predates.
approval, it predated the
Mhm.
state law where it required.
Mhm.
So that'll continue.
Mm.
And they'll be built with our, and I think the board has said, anybody who has their application in, we're gonna go forward with.
And again, that's a different kind of project, and I probably never would have gotten built without this, the IDA behind it in that particular case. And
That's substantial
it
money.
was a good project. I'm glad we did it. Well, previous boards did.
It's state funding for a lot of the infrastructure.
Well, all right,
Okay.
It's a tough problem.
Lisa's saying, where are we now?
Well, I mean, I think you guys probably have to make a motion and pass a resolution.
How would you like the resolution to read?
Well, I wanted to read what you guys want. Yeah, I hear you that you don't want to
What
do,
workforce, but what workforce?
yeah, so what,
That's the next question.
yeah, so, you don't want to do market rate housing,
Correct.
but you do want to do affordable housing. And
And
is-
workforce specifically.
and workforce housing, how do you define workforce housing? How do you, when a project comes to me, how do I know if it fits the
Is there
category?
a definition of workforce?
So the
Yeah.
town is 55% of,
50% and 65%.
50? is it 50? And 65. So 50% of the AMI is what's affordable. These are low numbers though. You could adjust them up. And 65% for workforce. And they require
But
5
those
and
are-
5.
Those are market rate projects in which those units are subsidized.
Right, but
So the question is the board willing to continue to provide subsidies for market rate projects that include workforce and affordable at some level, or is it only gonna be 100% affordable and workforce?
I think that's what they're saying,
Well,
that
that's the
they
question.
only, the 5 people here only want workforce and affordable to be subsidized by the IDA.
Correct.
So I'm understanding.
Correct.
Okay.
And
Right,
but
John? Workforce.
Lisa needs to know what is, you need to establish what's affordable, what rate,
Mhm.
do you go with the
So-
town rate or higher? Or
Or-
what's workforce?
Or do we say it's 100% affordable project if they get 4 or 9% tax credits from New York
You
State?
say
and
that. What
that's
about the workforce part of it?
Well,
workforce now is close to market.
Is it-
Is it not?
Well, it did
not at the town
how
level.
you define workforce. You can define it however
I,
you want.
I would ask that maybe Lisa and Annette, and Fred work towards, putting together a resolution that reflects the board and getting it to us before the board meeting that we could, review and come here with,
Do that.
because I think it'd be easy to see it on paper and,
That's fine.
and react to it.
And I
Because
would
it's a-
like to volunteer, Frank,
There you go.
to assist Lisa and Annette and Fred by consulting my colleagues at CBOI, which only does affordable housing. And I don't know where the workforce is at. But, and in the context of how many people are in those various categories? If we had 10 people who needed affordable housing, then we know that we don't have a problem. But we know we do have a problem. So let's see what the scale of the problem is.
Whatever you can do to help us. And them, that would be great.
So we will bring it back next meeting
Yeah, I think that.
with some parameters.
Yeah, and if you can get it to us prior to the meeting, then, we can do it and,
Yep.
and. Thank you.
Speaking of
Thank you.
affordable housing,
Yeah, so we actually have two more items on the agenda. The first one is an application from L&M Fund Management 2. It's for an existing Section 8 project in Lake Ronkonkoma. You guys want to tell us a little bit about the project? If you would just get up and stand like maybe over here so that the owl can see you and that way you can be on.
Boy, I don't know.
Uh-oh.
After all that
Trouble,
conversation.
trouble.
After that conversation, but you know what, I'm bearing gifts. I'm bearing gifts. Right? So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew Pressburg, I'm an attorney. And I'm here representing L&M and a project. I have a representative from the company, Amanda Rozawi, who's here also. She's the principal of the company. And this is a proposal that's before you for 100% affordable Section 8 housing for the largest Section 8 housing project in Long Island. We are acquiring the 336 unit currently affordable housing project known as Brookwood on the Lake in Ronkonkoma, but I won't quote what Marty called it. But, repeat it, but we're there acquiring this property. This is a $145 million project. It includes the acquisition and in-house renovations and upgrading of all the interior kitchens and bathrooms for these people. And it's all 100% Section 8. The HUD contract, which is presently in place for that Section 8, is expiring in about a year. And then it would go to market but for somebody stepping in and keeping it out as affordable. L&M is a nationwide company who only does affordable housing projects. They are, and this project is going, and so our intention is we're in the process of negotiating once we sign our contract, but we can't sign the contract, and we're not going to sign the contract unless we get assistance from this board in getting a pilot that makes this affordable project more affordable and beneficial to the developer. This will be a 62+ affordable project as well. So this project is 15 two-story buildings on it. It's going to be renovated in place, like I indicated. The purchase price of the project is $129 million. We have another $14 million allocated to renovate the interiors in place for these residents. This project, this is not a tax exempt bond project. This is going to be funded by private equity investments. The company, L&M, just so you know a little about them, they have been active in affordable housing since 1984. They have developed nearly 60,000 affordable housing units across the United States. and is currently the fourth largest owner of affordable housing nationwide. My notes, I can't turn my page. Okay. They have several projects in New York City, and they have one project in Nassau County, as a matter of fact, again, all affordable. So they have a long-standing track of partnering with public sector agencies to ensure the housing stability, long-term affordability, and high-quality living environment. And if this project, if approved with the pilot benefits, will remain as 100% affordable, and we agree and commit that at the end of a 20-year HUD contract for HSA, which is they don't go more than 20 years initially, we commit to extending that contract again for another term. Because we are here asking you for a reduction in the taxes for a 30-year pilot, which would increase just below 50% of what the current tax is, and then increase 3% a year over the life of that pilot. And if approved, it will remain 100% affordable and not go to market. So we haven't executed LOI. There is a but-for here, because the way we negotiated the LOI is that we have a certain period of time to negotiate that contract, and if the contract isn't signed at that time, we have sufficient enough time to, if you pass the resolution, then we execute the contract. If you don't, we simply don't execute the contract. If we're run out of time when we have to execute the contract, we still have our due diligence escape hatch. But rest assured, this project will not remain affordable, at least from our perspective, if this agency does not grant the pilot benefits to this much deserving project. So you're talking about an area in Ronkonkoma that's been affordable, that will remain affordable for the indefinite future, if we get the benefits that we're asking for, and ask your indulgence and your consideration in that regard. So I would be happy to answer any questions. My client would be happy to answer any questions. If not, we would ask you to accept the application and pass a resolution for 100% affordable.
Can I ask you, will you be moving forward if you don't get the benefits?
No. We have an escape clause. We haven't even executed the contract because we have a substantial length of time to get those government approvals in place prior to being obligated. This company does not, my client does not do market. They only do affordable housing. What's
the average rent?
That's what I was just going.
what's the average
What
rent?
could be the average
Two
rent?
bedroom.
1 bedroom, 2 bedroom? Yep, yep.
Just to give you some context of who I am for a second.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
Yep.
Amanda Rizzo, I'm a partner at L&M. So all of these tenants are covered by a Section 8 contract. So they only pay 30% of their income towards rent. The rest of the rent is federal subsidy, as you know. So the average size bedroom here is around a 2-bedroom. So that's around $2,500. But the tenant, if they earn $36,000 a year, you're paying $1,000 a month in rent.
There you go, Emery. There we go.
What's
May I add? I'm sorry.
go ahead, finish.
There
I'm
you go.
sorry.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just gonna add one thing, which is that L&M, we like to be repeat partners. We would not have been in this business for over 40 years by not having good relationships with the agencies. So that means at the local municipal level, at the state level, and at the federal level. One of the things we like to do with our investments, especially in elderly housing, is to bring in nonprofits so that it's a more holistic investment approach. You know, yes, we are investing in unit renovations, but also we plan to bring in a group called Connected Communities, who we've worked with on other elderly Section 8 properties. Now, what do? So if you go to this property, you'll see there's a senior center. It's used all the time. It's actually a bit overutilized to the point where the workout machines, I think, are from 2 decades ago. The library books that are taken out, that are created between the residents, are worn. And we like to not just do in-unit renovations, but reinvigorate the property with social services at the community center and redo parts of the community center so that the tenants can actually enjoy it a bit more. That also includes part-time nursing services, some coordination on transportation. We just find that these investments, it's not just about being under a Section 8 contract, it's actually being good stewards of the housing. because again, we want to be repeat partners with the local municipalities. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I mean,
What's the current real property tax bill on the property?
I believe it's around $850,000.
So you're requesting that the current tax bill that is paid to the local municipalities be cut in half.
Approximately half, correct? Yeah.
We proposed a base of $400,000.
Right, cut it in half.
Yeah, it's a little more than half.
So
Just about.
therefore, all of the municipalities that now collect the 800,000 will get half of what they got this year.
I believe that's correct.
Well, that's how pilots.
No,
That's what we do.
No, that's not how pilots
Well,
work.
I'm talking about.
Not
for
at this
existing-
agency.
For existing.
Okay, we have had a policy of not reducing current real property taxes.
Except for on existing projects.
Right, but in most cases, we do not do that. I'm not arguing right or wrong, I'm just looking at the numbers, that's why when I saw the word reduction, I was interested in the current context.
For us, we
Well,
also,
the only way you do that is with ground up construction, Mitch.
I understand.
So we're not talking about ground, we're talking about an existing project.
but you're right, this is a unique situation,
Right.
especially because of the expiring half contracts.
I'm not,
And, you know,
like I said, I'm not arguing the point, I just wanted to
you're
make
right.
sure
Yeah,
I was reading the letter correctly. Fine.
Is the property that's owned in Nassau County, is there a relationship with the Nassau County IDA on that one? Or Hempstead or somebody?
that's where I was
That's
going.
you're talking about the one that was referenced.
Yeah.
just now. That would be a ground up new construction affordable project. So that's a separate type of, that would be land. It's not an acquisition. Yeah, that's in Glencoe.
Tell us about the Nassau project, because I can't hear you.
I apologize. That's 120 unit proposed. They're going through
They're
planning
building
now.
it.
So
Oh,
it's a
I think
proposed
Glen Culver's.
ground up construction affordable deal. The IDA has, they're going through planning now so that it can go through the formal IDA
Oh,
process.
so it's not
That's a totally
existing.
separate, yeah.
It's not completed. yet.
Right.
It's not
Thank
at that stage.
Do you have any other projects on Long Island?
Not at this moment. I mean, we are New York based. We have our property management company here, construction company here. A lot of our folks actually live around this property, Brookwood on the lake. So it's very easy to staff from a management perspective. We're not trying to get a third party property manager, you know, at the site. It is us. It is 100% us. So, a lot of folks are actually local to the area.
Lisa and I saw this 3 weeks ago. Yeah, we drove around. Yeah, looks very nice.
I think you already answered my first question. The current occupants are age restricted,
Correct. They're over 60.
and they will continue to be the
Correct.
same age
Yep.
restrictions. Is there any possibility of getting a new agreement with HUD?
Yes, so we are actually very close with the New York HUD office. We've done work with them in New York, New Jersey. They know already that we are looking to preserve this property. They're very excited. We know the exact person who actually works on this from an asset management perspective. You know, just to give you some context, the seller is a family. The seller now lives in Colorado. They're not local to the area anymore. And when I was speaking to them last week, they were really excited because they know they need someone local to preserve the property. You can't just live somewhere else and manage a property like this because the waiting list, they've actually shut down the waiting list because it's quite sought after. So yeah, we are really excited about the opportunity if we're able to get your assistance.
I mean, the acquisition process, I mean, we were competing with people who were trying to acquire the property with hopes that HUD agreement would expire and to bring it to market. So
Okay, so if you get the HUD agreement, what do you need us for?
for the property tax, to make it economically feasible, to make it profitable.
But you're making but HUD is paying the
They're paying the
difference
bill.
between what the tenants can afford and what the rent should be.
It's not a market rent.
What's the
Still,
rent?
still low market.
It's 2,500 on average for a 2-bed. I just wanna, sorry, go ahead.
That's including HUD. That's the whole rent.
Right, that's the whole rent.
Right,
So,
I pay 70%.
Right.
Yeah, or in some cases, actually like 90+%, tenants only pay for, if someone loses their income, that's still making up the difference.
In some cases, isn't it 50% or it moves up and down, doesn't it?
Normally at these elderly section properties, because most folks pay off of social security, you'll see that the average tenant portion is about 20% or less of the rent.
Right. So it's age restricted. Yeah, you gotta be over 60. 66.
So we have to make this profitable for you on the back of the taxpayers of this, of the community. It's basically what you're asking us to do.
The way, we position it, and we do this, throughout New York, and throughout the country, is more that this is an at-risk property. And to your point earlier, you can get these units now. This is not ground up and construction affordable housing that you have to either finance subsidy or scarce tax exempt bonds. This is private capital coming in and saying, I can give the IDA these units now, and we can restrict them as affordable for the next 30 years, period, end of story. And let's say the HAP contract expires within that 30 years, in the regulatory agreement with the IDA will say, no, you're under a regulatory structure, you have to stay affordable, even if the HAP contract expired. So this is, it's always costlier to build affordable housing, because you need subsidy and tax exempt bonds, but they're scarce. And so here, we're just trying to figure out a way to create preservation, but you get the units now, and it's in conjunction with the pilot. And the $12 million of improvements at the property.
Where would all those people go that lived there if it became market rate? You have to think about that too.
How do you renovate a facility that's full already?
That's a great question, actually. Thank you for bringing that up. So we do what's called tenant in place renovations. So when we give folks new kitchens and baths, we completely agree with you. We definitely do not want any displacement. So what we do is we have a tenant services coordinator who, we're just talking about the renovations and who over a couple of days, tenants will be comfortable in the center that's on the property, and they will have to leave their unit for a couple of hours over a couple of days. And we don't want them in the unit when the construction is going on, but these are new kitchens and baths, and they can sleep in their bed at the end of the night. We've done this in Austin, we've done this in New York, we've done this, I mean, we do this throughout the country, but again, we need a local group. We have our own construction crews that know how to do this. We know our life does not get made easier when the tenants are not happy, right? They will go straight to you all, or they will go to whoever their local council is or something like that. So for us, we need to be very careful how we orchestrate this, but this is what we do day in, day out.
So what do we need at the moment?
I think just to accept the
Accept the
application.
application.
Yeah, okay.
Move to accept the application.
So, second, whatever that is.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed?
Like,
Okay.
what
Thank you
about-
very much.
Thank you.
Who are you?
Sorry, I'm gonna leave that over. Jess, did you catch that?
That's John.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, all right, we have one more application on the agenda. You're welcome. Have a nice day.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Good luck.
So the next, you know, I don't know if I said for Abigail 19 Nicholas that we had a public hearing and there was no comment.
You did.
I did, for both of them?
Oh, it's later today.
I had three of them yesterday, but I know I said it for 50 Worth Block. I don't think I said it for 19.
I'll make sure.
So the next item on the agenda is So Sunrise. We also had a public hearing for this project yesterday. This is the housing project on the south side of Sunrise in East Patchogue. Do you want to talk? Because I thought you had some stuff that you wanted to say.
Sure.
I just get up and stand over there.
Did not talk, come on.
Apologize for the case in the back, I have BZA next. So, okay, so, as you may recall, this is a 64 unit over 55 residential development that the board accepted the application at the last hearing. Initially, we made an application at 90%, 90% of AMI and consideration of obvious
temperature of the board with regard to any concerns with regard to affordability. Since that time, we've engaged in numerous conversations with staff, and it's my understanding that there was an agreement at 80% of AMI for the project. Received
5% at 50, 5% at 65, 10% at 80.
which is the 5 and the 50 and the 65 is town code.
Yes.
The IDA would be making up the difference at 80% for that second 10%. So, now that being said, in the interim, I received the documentation from attorney for the board with regard to, and it spells out a 15-year pilot, which we had for 17 years. And the justification for the 17 years, even at 90% of AMI, is the same. Is that it's about the feasibility of the project. And we talk about costs, and hard costs that are baked in, and the cost of the project is based on the cost of the land, cost of the construction. Those are variables which this board has almost no ability to deal with, other than sales tax exemption is provided for equipment. Looking at the Camoin study, it even recognizes that at if there is no pilot, there would be negative cash flow of $2.3 million to $3.9 million, making the project unviable. We are not titled owners of the project. We will not close on the project without IDA amendments. With regard to the 15 and 17-year pilots, there is a difference of $400,000 difference with regard to the amount of revenue taken in over the course of that. Additionally, it does say that under either scenario does not recoup the initial equity investment, even though there would be positive cash flow. This is further evidence of the importance of IDAs when it comes to housing. And in particular, this particular application. That this would be pretty much a unfinanceable project without IDA involvement. It would not be built. These would result in 64 new houses for over 55. And remember, this is over 55. I think that is a separate category necessarily from straight market rate. And I think that might be something you want to consider between now and whatever resolution the board decides with regard to this. But I am trying to stay focused. So,
But we got your message.
I hope that the board would grant the resolution at the 17-year pilot that we initially approved, and I think we've proven with regard to the Camoin report, the need for this and the deviation from the standards. I also find that with regard to our agreement to come down to 80%, and recognizing that it does materially affect the amount of income that we will be producing on this project. So I would hope that the board pass a resolution with the 17-year pilot as applied for, with the 80% being recognized for that second 10% of affordable units. And I thank you very much. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I saw a number of different numbers. And I don't remember, but equity versus financing. You have those numbers handy?
Yes, I do. But I have to dig in. And I think it's 25 million, and equity is, I believe, 15 million. 39,500,000.
What's the total project cost?
39,500,000. It's the final number.
And equity is how much?
15 million. If I remember correctly, it was a 25 or 26 million dollar loan total. So approximately a third would be equity.
There were no comments at the public hearing. I don't know if I said that, but I mentioned the public hearing. Does anybody have any questions?
So, yeah, I have a quick question. Basically in the past, I think we did a project over at Patchogue that pushed us to 15 years for our pilot credits.
17.
Oh, was it 17? Oh, all right, forget my question. I thought it was 15, and then we did 15 and everyone else jumped on the bandwagon for 15. Now I thought if we're going to 17, everyone's gonna jump on the bandwagon for 17.
Bless you.
So,
Bless you.
That project was very different though.
I'm just, it just seems like they come in and
They had
once,
to do all the demolitions, they had to do the.
but that, it just was just making sure we're not keep pushing the can down the,
There is other precedent with regard to a project in Port Jefferson Station where it was granted for a 17-year pilot.
yes,
Under similar circumstances with the same client.
correct, okay, yep. I just want to make sure that one,
And again,
next year it's
in
gonna be
each one of those
20.
cases, the market rate units are not exorbitantly. The market rate units are going to be starting at between 95 and 110% of AMI. These are not the type of units where the applicant is marketing these to $5,000 a month rentals. So we're trying to maintain what we call an attainable rent with regard to the market rate rents. And I think that that should also be commended with regard to this project, as well as it was recognized in the in the other project in Port Jefferson Station, City Academy. And I thank you.
And you did say 55 and over, correct?
It is all 55 and over.
Good.
So there would be it's zero impact on the school district. There'd be no school children being educated as a result of this project. So
Don't,
And the average
don't say it.
the average 2-bedroom rate would be what?
we put down we start around 3,400, which is, okay, and a distinction also is made is that the market rate units, they will also pay their own utilities. Any of the affordable units, there's a utility allowance for basic utilities such as electric and heat. And then it was at 3,900, I think was the top rental rate that we anticipate this time.
So the decision is 15 years or 17 years. Comments?
And the pilot is laddering as we always do.
Yes, it's
Yes.
tiered in.
Yes.
Each.
It's in your packets if you want to see the actual dollars.
On the 17-year, the taxes would remain the same for years 1 and 2. Climbing by 10% in year 3 and 4, 5% in year 5, so that by like year 8, we're at 179,000. By year 13, you would be at 356,000 or 55%. And in year 17, last year, the pilot would be $557,000 pilot payment.
If you go to 5C, report May 22nd, so sunrise, if you click on that, that's the Lemoyne study. And then if you scroll, I probably should have counted pages, to page 3, that shows a 7-year pilot. Page 4 shows a 15-year pilot, and page 17 shows, I'm sorry, page 5 shows a 17-year pilot. You see that, Anne Marie?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can sort of toggle back and forth between the 15-year and the 17 to see the differences. And then if you keep going in that study, the next page, page 6, there's a real property tax comparison. You can see the difference between the 17 and the 15-year pilot as far as the abatement percentage, the foregone revenue, taxes without the pilot, those sorts of items.
Just to tee it up, I'll go along with the 17-year pilot. I'll put it on the table that way. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Questions? On the vote. Marty?
We talked about this is gonna be until we change our housing, anything that was teed up already was.
So this project, you accepted an application.
Correct.
This is the final authorizing resolution. This is kind of a weird one because it wasn't already approved prior to the change in policy. So you're kind of at a in between with this one. Listen, it's an application in front of you, a final authorizing resolution. You can vote yes or no anytime, regardless if it's an unusual circumstance or not.
He's my attorney. Remember
Anne Marie?
about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
No? Oh, yeah.
Marty?
Yeah, he's not.
Right.
My question,
Sure.
I'm just not sure why she would do 17 as opposed to 15. I'm not convinced. I need a little bit more from council.
So if you read the Comoin report, which was prepared by
Yes,
Comoin
I'm
Engineering Consultant, they find that at the 15-year, there would be cash flow, positive cash flow of $813,000. In 17-year would be 1.26 million. And this is the important part.
That's before debt service?
No. But it does not recoup the initial equity investment over the period of time studied. It gets rid of all the loans, but it does not recoup their initial investment of the millions of dollars that they put in. So that's what makes the project, that's what makes, Comoin came up with the statement.
Are you supposed to recoup your equity?
And
Yes.
what about
But what I'm saying is that.
Is it?
If-
I thought your equity is what you owned in your.
So what we are asking for is a 17-year pilot. And I'm asking with the board also to take into consideration the fact that we are being reduced to 80% of on the affordable. We came in at 90 after discussions. There were further discussions reducing it further, which also reduced obviously the amount of income that we are bringing in. And we're asking that you consider all of those factors when considering this application. We're asking for 17 years to allow us better opportunity to recoup our initial investment and have this project be successful. And it's meant to be held as a long-term investment by the applicant. This is not something that we tend to flip.
Heard from Mitch, Anne Marie, Marty,
I'll say yes to this one.
Frank,
Yes.
John?
So Tim, you were saying that it's 3,400 with the benefits, right? Just say if there were no benefits, what would that rent have to be to cover that cost?
Well, in order to cover the cost, we would have to make up if there was no benefits. And again, relying on the report, if there was no benefits, the loss would be 2.3 to 3.9 million dollars. So there's only 64 units, so that would probably bring the average rent to a point where it probably is not feasible to build the project. Well over $5,000 a unit. So, you know, this is one of those projects that needs these benefits in order to be built.
I'll vote yes.
Jimmy?
Yes.
All right, it's unanimous.
I want to thank you all for your time and your patience. On to my next business.
See you,
Good
Jim.
choice of words.
See you, Mr. Shea.
Thank you.
Okay,
You had enough to.
Well, good.
okay, thank you. I don't think I missed anything on this agenda.
There you
No,
go.
you did everything.
No, you did.
Okay, jumped all over the place.
In that case, unless anyone's got anything else, move to adjourn. So move.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, everybody. See you on the 17th.